The screenwriter I chose to study is Jane Campion. Jane Campion is a New Zealand screenwriter and director. She was born on April 30th, 1954 in Wellington, New Zealand. She grew up surrounded by theater as her mother and father both worked in theater and even founded the New Zealand Players, a theater company. Campion, however, decided to get her degree in anthropology and then later got her degree in fine art. After that, her old influence in theater came back into her life as she began writing plays and wanted to turn them into movies. In the 1980s, she was drawn to film and was even paid to go to a film school. However, she claims that art school influenced her more than film school in terms of aesthetic style and ways of thinking. She currently lives in Australia. Jane Campion is known for being the only woman to win a Palme d'Or at Cannes and is the second of 4 women to be nominated as Best Director for an Academy Award. She was also a jury president for the 67th Cannes Film Festival and was the 10th woman to do so. I will talk more about her achievements in the awards section. Campion's knowledge of anthropology has really influenced her storytelling because she is naturally drawn to studying human behavior and knows how certain people act in different cultures and environments. What I think is most striking about the human condition that Campion portrays is how Ada is connected to the piano throughout the entire script, and once one of her fingers is chopped off, aiding her playing, she demands that the piano be thrown into the beach almost instantly afterwards despite her tie to it. Further, the piano is described as visual poetry, which is influenced by her time at art school. Campion said that when she first started making films, she wasn't aware of the different types of shots there were. Instead, she was just shooting. Her background in art is evident throughout the film, especially in the beach scene when there is a long shot that encompasses the beach, piano, and Ada running towards it. Along with shooting open spaces, the coloring of the piano includes bluish-gray tones, a softer palette, and really adds to the emotional aspects of the film. Campion said that David Lynch is one of her influences, as he also studies the human condition in his stories. In 1982, shortly after film school, Campion wrote Peel, which was her first short film. It ended up winning the short film Palme d'Or at Cannes in '86. In 1989, Sweetie was her first feature film that she directed and co-wrote. This went on to win many awards, such as the LA Critics New Generation Award in 1990. My last example is Top of the Lake, which is a detective mystery show that Campion wrote that ran from 2013 to 2017, starring Elizabeth Moss and her own daughter Alice Engler. Campion felt as though there was more artistic freedom in the television world. Further, she said she likes long novels and that she would have a chance to explore more character lines. Her work is all about the emotional complexities of characters and bringing light to the suppressed voices of women. These are a few awards that the piano won. In 1993, it won the Palme d'Or. In 1993, it won the Australian Academy of Cinema and Television Arts Award for Best Original Screenplay and Award for Best Film. In 1994, it was nominated for Best Picture. It also won the Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay, and Jane Campion was nominated for Best Director. In 1994, it also won the Independent Spirit Award for Best International Film. The script by Jane Campion that I decided to focus on was The Piano in 1993. The piano sets the stage in the beginning for being the image that Ada is tied to. When we see her desperate for Stuart to let her take the piano with her, and as we see her interacting with the piano throughout the script, it sets up the stage for the end of plot point 2, when Stuart chops off one of her fingers. Being able to see her emotional tie to the piano makes it even more devastating when her ability to play is compromised. Another strength would be the parallel between Baines and Ada's deal, that Ada will give him a lesson for each black cue of the piano, and the act of Stuart threatening Baines by telling him that if they continue to see each other, he will chop off her fingers one by one. We also see the piano keys act as a way of communication for Baines and Ada, not only through the playing, but through Ada writing a note to Baines on a key. Furthermore, we see a foreshadowing of the relationship with Baines as we see him transfixed by Ada's playing of the piano in the beach scene in the beginning. We also see a connection from the beginning and ending when Flora and Ada leave and enter from the beach. When looking at strengths and atmosphere, it is important to look at the color palette that Campion used. She used a lot of soft, grayish blue tones. It is also important to look at the use of piano music to portray the mood. We see this in scene 24 when it says, "Soft piano music has been playing over the previous scene. Now it builds to strength as seawater swirls high around the piano, small and embattled on the dark, rainy beach." She also uses a lot of wide open space shots, such as in scene 31. From a helicopter, the camera tracks along the beach, following the crashing wave line to find the piano. We also see another hint to camera direction when it says, "The figures seem tiny amidst the rain-drenched skeleton forest." She also uses scenes of Ada running to portray her direness of her situation. Ada keeps walking blindly, like her being depends on it. Her face is ashen, her eyes fearful as she walks unseeingly straight into a large tree stump. She sinks into the mud. In the piano, the relationship between Ada and Flora is the most fascinating. Ada, a mute woman, and her daughter Flora interact with each other and express themselves through playing the piano. Moreover, the story is about Ada, who was sold into marriage and brought to New Zealand to marry Stuart. Instead of verbally, Campion had to have Ada express herself through facial expressions and through how she played the piano. Campion wanted to tell a story about a woman who didn't have a voice, but was still strong and opinionated. It was interesting for her to explore the relationships Ada found herself in, and to write the emotional impact of being forced to love someone and falling in love with another, all the while not having Ada speak. Flora, her daughter, is also in a place of emotional unrest as she is unsure whether to call Stuart father in the beginning, and then grows attached to him by the end, even giving Stuart Ada's note to Baines. After Stuart chops off Ada's finger, Flora understands that Baines is the better man. Furthermore, she draws clear distinctions between Baines and Stuart by showing how Stuart is uncomfortable through Ada's communication and showing Baines intrigued after seeing her emotions through her playing on the beach. In scene 23, we see how Ada and Flora interact, and we also see how Stuart is uncomfortable by their interaction. I chose pages 5 to 20 of the script solely because of the beach scene, which encompasses Campion's style perfectly. Here, we get her descriptions of the beach. The sky is blue with long wisps of cloud, and the shadows are long on the sand, that portray an idea of the brighter light shining on Ada playing in comparison to the bluish gray when it's time to leave the beach, and of the majority of the film. The piano, juxtaposed with the beach, gives off a sort of vulnerable, intimate feel, as the only people who are in attendance to Ada's performance are Baines and Flora. Moreover, this is where we see Ada and Flora in their natural element, at ease and not concerned with the arranged marriage. The sense of mood is portrayed through how Ada plays the piano, softly at first, and then more stubbornly. We see how Ada expresses herself here. Her whole composition is altered. She is animated, joyful, excited. And Flora. Down on the wet sand, Flora does a wild dance of her own invention. We see a wide array of emotions from Ada in this scene as she is joyful in her playing and grows darker when it's time to leave. Baines in this scene becomes aware of the emotional tie Ada has to the piano and is mesmerized by her. Lastly, we get some camera direction at the end. From a helicopter, the camera tracks along the beach following the crashing waveline, which shows Campion's artistic director vision.